The rains come again until there is nothing left of road or wood or field. Nothing in the entire world but mud. It is the time of the spring driving, as the long prophesied alliance of the dark gods has finally come to pass, and in its wake, the world trembles. Far to the west, the armies of Nurgle the Plague Lord cut a pestilent path through Marienburg and the River Reich, driving on towards the imperial capital of Altdorf. But in the east, Kislev stands strong. For now. But the four grow tired of their great game and seek to drown this world in a tide of blood. The cataclysm is upon us. The end times are here. And only the greatest heroes of an age, tossing aside old rivalries and uniting under one banner, have a hope of prevailing. Hello, my friends. I am Eddie Pride from Milk and Cookies Total War, and we are playing the End Times mod by the Duke, Kislev Reborn by Decomposed, Chrysword, and Dindy, and the Fort Astros map by Maruka. And what a gorgeous map it is, setting the mood nicely as the rains pound down upon our stalwart defenders. The Empire, Dwarfs, and armies of Kislev have rallied to defend the motherland, ready to give their lives to stem the tides of chaos, and Ice Queen Tzarina Katarin will be leading her army upon her resplendent war chariot. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, mother trucker. Hope you're ready for that ice baby, nah mean, playa? Yeah, you're picking up what I'm putting down. I'm feeling it. And they've got the eastern gate bracketed with Archer Fire and the Winds of Winter. Towards the western gate of the city march the Bray Herds of Khazrak One-Eye and the Beastmen, choosing to go for an extremely elite army, all marked Bestigors, Slangors, Zangors, Pestigors, and some big-ass Chaos Spawn to boot. My lord. Those are some pestilent, disgusting monstrosities, aren't they? They're like 4 times the size of a Minotaur. So that's going to be a problem for the defenders, but they have Ungrim Ironfist, who kind of specializes in monster killing, so with his Dwarf Warriors and an army of Slayers, the forces of Katarin are well suited for defending this city of Kislev. Norsca, the Beasts of Wintertooth, the Warriors of Chaos, and the armies of Sigvald and Khazrak One-Eye, all marching on the walls of the Bear. And we've got a sick, an epic siege defense on the way. Hope you guys are ready for that pain. I'm not sure Chaos is. A bit of an icy greeting for the invaders. And this eastern gate right here will be the focal point around which this entire battle turns. Really important for the defenders to deal as much damage as they can before Sigvald and his minions grab a firm foothold like a bunch of little spider monkeys. But just soak it in, people. The cinematics, the flair. Where else can you see such violence, such beauty? Where else can you see the onion domes of glorious Kislev stand firm in the face of Armageddon? Today, we are canceling the apocalypse. Or not. I have no idea. We'll see in less than 20 minutes if the Imperial defenders can hold the line here. Ungor herd caught out, Vanguard deployed, trying to sneak up the ladders on the northern side of the city, and the Empire cavalry already dealing quite a bit of damage to the Bray Herds on that side. Chillwind and a Blizzard Storm coming out of Ice Queen Tzarina Katarin. Didn't catch a whole lot of invaders on the way in, though, and she'll need to put in a lot more work than that if she wants to stem the tides of chaos here. Slangor, Zangor, and Pestigor already making their way onto the ramparts on the western side of the city, and this will not be a particularly enjoyable engagement for the Dwarf Warriors of Katarin. It's a lot of armor piercing and perfect vigor they have to deal with. Zangors, on the other hand, might be an okay fight for the Slayers. They're both very low armor, but the Slayers have the full surround, and there's a lot to be said for that. They have the Mark of Tzeentch, they have better spotting range, but they don't have incredible melee potential compared to the Korngors and Pestigors of the Dark Gods. On this side, Tzarina Katarin watching what goes on the ramparts above, waiting for a good opportunity to drop some bombardments or vortex spells if she can. There are a lot of Chaos forces, man. Marauders, great weapons, a lot of Chosen, Chaos Warriors, and even some Dark Elves here. Some Sisters of Slaughter, Eldrasor, Lord of Blades, Gladiatresses of that evil deity, and they're rocking Executioner swords and War Dancer animation, so they're getting super hot and spicy up in here. But a Boyar, alongside some Droyashki, well, they have Cold Steel waiting to plunge into the hearts of their opposition. Speaking of plunging, oh my god, chill! These Gladiatresses need to chill. That was insane. just bisected the poor dude, broke dance on his face, jumped over his back, and pulled the sword out again. That was dope. Boyar pushing back as many of those girls as he can. Should be able to kill quite a few of them. They have the full surround off, which is always really beneficial when the siege towers first make landfall on top of the walls. And Slayers fighting against these Zongors still. Their mystic staffs and some kind of blessed blade of the Raven God doing work against these Slayers, and they've gotten a foothold on top of the walls, but they've both taken pretty serious casualties. This is exactly what the Slayers want. This is definitely a worthy end to the Mohawked Beasts of Tzarina Katarin, but they've gotten a lot of kills here, and if the Beastmen are able to push through, they're going to go right to that central choke point and try to put pressure on Kislev's back line, which is why this eastern gate needs to hold, and hold for as long as possible, because the easiest way to lose in these siege defense scenarios is to get sandwiched. By the way, Ice Queen, not a very good vortex from you, girl. Yeah, that's not going the right way at all. Winds of magic are fickle, especially during the end times. During Armageddon, during the Cataclysm, it's hard to control the winds, and it went the exact opposite way, killed a good 15 or 20 Imperial State troops, which I'm sure they're not too happy about. Can you imagine coming all this way? Another magical bombardment coming down from the Ice Queen. But you march all this way to help out your Kislev buddies, march into the heart of the motherland, and then get blown up by their own magic, by friendly fire. Not a fun way to go. Iron Drake's doing their part as well, spewing some icky napalm into the center of the Forsaken and Marauders, and these Daughters of Chaos. Gospodar Spearmen holding their phalanx well, and that's a great avenue of attack for the Iron Drakes. Shoot right in between those two Kislevite formations and rack up the kills. They're doing so now. But the Imperial Outriders, the Knights in Training, as it were, the Vanguard has been completely caught out. Ice Trolls and the Beasts of Wintertooth catching them and destroying them, eating them, feasting upon their flesh, throttling the Troll King and in amongst their formation too, and a Norscan Ice Giant as well. Cannon fire from the towers. I don't know how they're getting that kind of line of sight, but actually racking up some great damage there, and the projectile velocity on each of those cannonballs fire from the towers, pretty crazy to watch. Minotaurs and Chaos Spawn have made it to the gate. No matter what comes through that gate, you will hold your ground. You are men of the Empire. You are dwarfs of the Kara's Anchor. Hold. Oh, Jesus. What are those things? Those aren't normal Chaos Spawn, man. Those are quadruple the size of your regular monstrous infantry, and they look mad. Thankfully, some Iron Drakes are nearby. Might be able to do some great damage here, but the Minotaurs are straight in. And these are dark beasts indeed. Slayers and Ungrim Iron Fist nearby, though. Do they have enough damage to cut through this much HP? Almost 18,000 on these particular Chaos Spawn. And talk about the flesh change. This is worse than the Thousand Suns ever dealt with. My lord. That is horrific. That is the stuff of nightmares. But Slayers go willingly into the clutches of these beasts of Tzeentch. Flesh change or not, they're ready to slay some monsters. Few of them getting gored by Minotaurs, as one might expect, but they should do well against those monstrous infantry. I just don't know how they'll do against the Chaos Spawn itself. Kossars and bowmen from below trying to fire upwards into the Pestigors. So is some napalm. If they can get some good shots in, I believe Pestigors have regen, so they should have flame weakness as well. At least in every other rendition of them I've ever seen, they have regen. So flame damage is a great way to deal with them. Back on this side, the Bear Cav getting in there. Sigvold slicing heads off left, right, and center, as he is wont to do. Sliver Slash flashing in the rainy afternoon. A lot of Imperial State troops will find their end at the edge of that keen blade. Tzarina Katarin, not one to sit idly by, riding through on her pimp sleigh. And the Beasts of Wintertooth finish with the cavalry coming back towards the main gate, and that might shift things in their favor if Kislev can't get the rest of those infantry off soon. Chaos One actually taking a tremendous amount of damage, already down to about 1/5 HP at best. Kazrak One Eye with his whip, with Scourge, with the runic weapon in his right paw, slicing heads off. He should be able to carve through Slayers all day long, baby. That's what he does. On foot, doesn't have to worry about the bonus for large of these Slayers in any way, shape, or form. And so he's content to sit back and do his thing in melee combat as Pestigors watch and enjoy the show. Pestigor is still dealing with the Ungol warriors up top. Dryashki, Ropsman, Gospodar, and Slayers all fighting back to back, but these Pestigors are a problem, and they are certainly higher tier than Dwarf warriors or Slayers in prolonged melee combat. And they're gonna win this grind for sure. That's what they're meant for. That's what they are built and born and bred for, is just get into a relatively tough melee engagement and tank it out through sheer attrition. Yeah, war of attrition is not what you want to go into against the forces of Nurgle. Kind of what they're built for. Here come the Chaos Spawn. All 4 models still alive and Tony Hawking into the rear of these crossbows and archers. I think they're probably going to die, right? Sandwiched between Berserkers, Marauders, and a whole bunch of towering Chaos Spawn, bigger than a building, and the barracks district is about to fall in Kislev. But lots of reserves still in play. Lots of ranged firepower for the defenders too, and if they can kill some of these Chaos Spawn quickly and get into melee with the Berserkers, maybe with the Bear Cav, and certainly with Volkmar the Grim astride his War Altar of Sigmar, rain some benedictions down from above, some Grand Hammer of Sigmar, some Grand Shields of Faith, and they could be right back in this game. And of course, Ungrim has barely been fighting. I'm surprised he pulled away from those Chaos Spawn. He probably could have already killed off 2 or 3 of those models because they got really low. And then you add, 700 weapon strength on top of that, and not a problem at all. But certainly, executing Berserkers, sending their souls screaming into the afterlife, is no problem for Ungrim Iron Fist either. The Axe of Dargo, cleaving heads from shoulders, and already Berserkers beginning to break. Next to some proven halberds, Throg on the other side, vomiting into the Imperial battle line. Zealots, Flagellants, and Imperial state troops trying to hold that gate. But there is so much monstrous firepower coming through in one choke point, and when you stack that much monstrous infantry and monsters on top of each other, and you only have a few already battered Imperial state troops holding the line, no surprise. But Tzarina Katarin is still around, casting a Midwinter's Kiss, debuffing the entire enemy battle line. Sigvald is down to half HP, and the Bear Cav and Defenders of Alexandranov, those great weapon, unbreakable greatsword units, are still ready to do some killing. Giant beginning to drop relatively low too, and getting some good focus fire on the monsters from the Kossars and Monster Hunters in the back as another bombardment spell rains down and brings the Kiss of Winter. Nicely dodged from the forces of Chaos though, not going to deal a whole lot of damage. Almost a Comet of Cassadora looking spell landing at the end there, but just not doing a whole lot. The defenders have done a great job of funneling these attackers into the choke points where they can make some use out of those vortex and bombardment spells, and more than that, preventing themselves from being outflanked, which, as I said earlier, is one of the worst ways to deal with a siege scenario. If they manage to break one side quickly and then overrun from the other side of the city, well, then your defense is effectively over from there. They have prevented that. They've kept these Pestigors and most of the Beastmen on this side tied up for the majority of the battle, and the fact that they've been unable to outflank the Imperial and Kislevite defenders means that they'll be able to hold for a lot longer than they would normally be able to. And Volkmar and quite a few of those troops are still in a good position to hold back the tides on that side. Chaos Spawn are on top of the Grudge Throwers though, and the Giant is about to start styling on these poor archers. Oh my God, this is going to get so brutal, so fast. Just yamming it like Kobe Bryant, man, like LeBron James, picking them up, slamming them to the hoop, and it's going to be a bit more of a bloody show than you typically see in your bog standard NBA game. Dropping the hammer, and I think this regiment will not be around for very much longer. Yeah, that's that's just disgusting. And you don't get to see it very often in vanilla because Giants just kind of blow. I might make a video soon where I talk about what CA could do with them to hopefully make them more viable in Total War Warhammer 3. Because right now, they're ass. But in the end times, this thing, I mean, it's over 100 kills. Obviously has completely different stats because the End Times is a different overhaul rebalance mod. But yeah, it's been a force of nature this game for sure. Been extremely useful. The Bear Cav is breaking off after a tough fight with the Frost Trolls of Wintertooth and with Throg the Troll King himself. And we've got a duel with Volkmar the Grim and Khazrak One-Eye as a few of the Pestigors managed to push through and are now fighting the Proven Halberds and Ungrim Iron Fist with his Axe of Dargo and the Dragon Cloak of Fiskar. I think these Halberds might be able to win this fight. They have a lot of armor-piercing, great melee defense, and they have the support of Ungrim, who should be able to kill Pestigor for days, really. Now, this is an engagement I'm a little bit more curious about. Cycle charging with Volkmar would probably be the play, but he has that bonus versus infantry because he's on the War Altar, which effectively is a chariot, so should be able to do well against Khazrak if he can knock him over, but I'm not sure how mass is handled in the End Times mod. It's very possible that it's harder to knock down Footlords. I imagine that's something that he has very much addressed to make them more viable. Trolls, Forsaken, and a giant completely surrounding Ice Queen Tzarina Katarin, and she's in a bad spot. But in terms of the bounce bar, still relatively even here, and we're about 15 minutes into this battle. Iron Drakes are still alive, Proven Halberds are still alive, Ungrim Iron Fist and Volkmar the Grim are still alive, and Khazrak's isolated. If Ungrim can push through the Pestigors and strike down Khazrak One-Eye, it'd be a massive blow to the Brayherds and might precipitate a mass rout on this side, free up some space so they can go help out against Wintertooth and Chaos on the other side of the city. These Halberds are beasting it up. They've held the line admirably well so far, and they might just be able to beat back these Pestigors. Looking a little bit sickly, ickly, green, and gooey, which is just how Nurgle likes it. Kiss of Contagion on your cheek. Generous gifts to you enhance your physique. Now, I would actually kind of like to see Volkmar forget about Khazrak for now and just style on this infantry. If they can break these Pestigors quick, like I said, frees up a bunch of their troops to go somewhere else and help out other parts of the battlefield. So, could maybe ignore Khazrak, and if Ungrim can't push through them, deal with the Pestigors first, then kill Khazrak, then go somewhere else. But at the moment, it's just Volkmar cycle charging all over the One-Eye, and Kislev is broken. That's starting to look a little bit dicey. Balazar's not in a terrible position, but this is a lot of free monstrous infantry that's regenning. There is one Chaos Spawn model still left, about 3 times the size of Throg himself to give you a sense of scale. Absolutely insane. Here comes Volkmar. His flaming damage will be incredibly useful against the regenning trolls of Wintertooth. Actually, 2 Chaos Spawn models left. Barely any HP between them, though. The Proven Halberds are doing such a great job alongside Ungrim Iron Fist. Volkmar going into the teeth of this troll blob. The King of Wintertooth is trolling around indeed, but here come the Halberds. And these are elite tiered armor-piercing Halberds. And they might kill a lot of trolls here. The Giant died. The Chaos Spawn are on death's door as well. With Ungrim Iron Fist supporting them and Volkmar supporting them, they maybe have a chance to defend the central capture point of Kislev's most important city. Here comes Volkmar the Grim from the flank, flaming damage on top. Chariot's not usually known for being able to do incredibly well against monstrous infantry, but we'll see. And Sigvald and just a handful of incredibly beaten up Mirror Guard and Forsaken hanging out trying to capture the point. Balazar is swinging a little bit in favor of Chaos, and they certainly have a lot more on the field, but all their stuff is just way more beaten up than what Volkmar and Ungrim and the Halberds are dealing with. Now, the Halberds are, well, they might die soon here. The Pestigor's got a full surround off, and things are maybe starting to look a little bit bleak for the defenders, but that's what Armageddon is all about, really. If we know anything about the End Times, it's that it doesn't go so well for the forces of order, and it might not go so well here. I think it might be slipping away. I think their chances of winning this one, barring some kind of miracle, they can kill Throg the Troll King, or Khazrak, or Sigvald. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to. Benediction rains down from the heavens, but in the end, it is too much. Balazar swings ever more in the favor of Chaos, and the defenders will lose. But they did a great job defending the city. They killed 95% or more of the attackers, and they were pretty heavily outnumbered and outgunned and outfunded as well. So So I think they did a good job there. Now, what I would have really liked to have seen is some different decision-making on those Imperial cavalry. So we saw them Vanguard deployed outside the walls to deal with the Ungor herd, and they caught them out immediately. Did a great job over there. But they didn't manage to get out of that choke point and out onto the open field before the Beasts of Winter 2 stomped their way over and trapped them inside next to the white line where they could not escape. And then, well, obviously, Imperial Scout Riders are not going to fare particularly well against Frost Trolls and Throg the Troll King and a Giant in sustained melee. If they had killed off those Ungor herd and then immediately scooted out of there, gone onto the open field, and pulled Throg away from the main walls, then Throg has to make a decision. Sure, he can push directly in and help with the rest of the reinforcements and kill off everything inside, but then you have 4 full units of heavy cav that you can use in the late game to cycle charge what remained of the enemy force. And that's a pretty open city. They could have done a lot of damage there if they'd managed to survive and not get thrown away in a poor engagement with full HP Frost Troll. So I think if they'd been able to escape, they might have been able to make a bigger impact on that battle. The Duke and his forces, I mean the Zongors and Pestigors especially Pestigors were beastly, quite literally. They were awesome. The Chaos Spawn, that model, my god, they're huge. And they're terrifying. And they did well also. Tzarina Katarin dropped some nice vortexes, although I think Chaos did a great job of dodging out of the way. Bear Cav and the Defenders of Alexandranov were the MVPs, alongside some of those Kossars. Ungrim Iron Fist and the Slayers got a lot of kills against the Beastmen. And all in all, it was a very entertaining show. So I want to say thank you to the Duke, PD the Power Dragon, Pjad Tron, Bagel of War, Recurring Extra, and Fatal Cowboy, all on my Discord. If you want to do some more sieges with those boys, feel free to join my Discord and hit them up. And I'll see you all in the next one. Any Pride signing out for now. Have a good one, guys.